Good morning, friends. We're coming this morning from the Old Testament, talking about a miracle in the Bible. And this is taken from 1 Samuel chapter 5. This is an instance where the Philistines and the Israelites were at war, and two evil priests, Hophni and Phinehas, they presumed to take the ark with them, with the Israelite army, which were not really being obedient to God, to fight against the Philistines. And of course, they were defeated, soundly defeated. But the worst thing happened was that the ark of the Lord was taken by the Philistines. So the Philistines believe, Israel's God is only God in Israel. We take him to Philistine area, he will have no power. So they put the ark in the temple of Dagon. And we're going to pick up the story. This is 1 Samuel chapter 5, beginning with verse number 1. It says, "And the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it to from Ebenezer and to Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon. And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face on the earth before the ark of the Lord." So they say, well, something must be wrong. Let's put the Dagon back up. But then verse 4 says, "And when they arose early on the next morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him." So this was a big surprise. So they thought, I don't know what's going on. Maybe we need to do something. So they decided to move the ark. But before they moved the ark, a plague broke out. That was in Ashdod. And a plague of mice, pestilence, and the men broke out with hemorrhoids. So they said, maybe this is some, local thing happening. So then they moved the ark to Gath. And the very same thing happened in Gath. Plague of mice, men broke out in hemorrhoids, many were killed. So then they said, something's wrong. They moved it to Ekron. But when they got to Ekron, the people said, hold on, wait a minute. You bringing this ark, you bringing this plague to us. We need to rethink the situation. So there was some back and forth because some still thought that Dagon was powerful, but others were, some doubt was creeping into their mind. So they thought about it and said, maybe if we send the ark back by this special means that we devise, and it doesn't really work out, then we know it's not their God, but this is just some natural occurrence. If we take two milk kine that have just had babies, and we separate them from the babies, and then we hook these milk kine up to a cart, and we put the Ark of the Covenant on the cart, and then we put some little golden emblems that represent mice and the hemorrhoids. They thought, if they presented something that represented the disease to their God, then the God would kind of back off a little bit. If we put all these things on this cart and we just let them go. Now, the natural inclination for the cows was to go back to where their babies were. See, that would be the natural thing to do because these cows had never had a yoke on them before. So they were not cows or oxen that you would take out to the fields. So when they let these cows go, lo and behold, they headed straight toward Israel. So in the Philistine mind, they were convinced, this God is the real thing. And I thought about this and I said, now what was God trying to do with the Philistines? The same thing he was doing with the plagues of Egypt. He was trying to convince the Philistines, that he was God and that they should let his people go. So the same thing with the Philistines. He was trying to convince them that the God that you're serving, Dagon, He's not a God at all. You made him. You made this image. See, I'm not made with hands. You can't see me. I'm everywhere. So I'm sure that there were some in the Philistine nation that maybe had a conversion experience from that. And anyway, they sent this cart back, and we'll talk this evening about what happened when this cart got back to Israel. We'll talk about that. But the lessons that I see we can glean from this is that no matter where we are, God is with us. Psalms 23, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, thou art with me. Yeah, God is with us. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, inside the fiery furnace, yeah, I'm with you. In our life, in all of the things and situations that we may go through, the problems that we may encounter, we cannot forget that God is with us. When Jesus Christ came forth from the grave, what were the words that he says? All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. We cannot forget that God can and will deliver us. We have to have that confidence. He's told us, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love, and most important, this sound mind. So let's use that sound mind. Let's praise and glorify God in all that we do, and he will deliver, because his word will not return unto him void. God bless you. Have a good day.